A number of years ago, I was sitting on a small commuter flight in Northern California, just running between two smaller cities, and I was reading something, my Bible, or I think it was a book, and I heard a voice over my shoulder, and the voice said, "What are you reading?" It was a woman that had been looking at what I was doing and wondered about the content. Now, I was lost in my study. I told her what it was. She was interested. I wrote down the title and a couple of other titles on the back of a business card, and I gave it to her, and that was the end of it, or so I thought. I went back to my study, and that was it. Until 3 weeks later, when this woman actually showed up at my church, titles in hand, heading for the bookstore to buy those books. And 2 weeks later, she became a Christian. You know, in the New Testament, when the sowers went out to scatter the seed, they didn't sow in neat rows like we do. They would just go out into the field and scatter, and the seed would land in all these different places. They don't know what seed is going to take root. They're scattering their seed recklessly, and ultimately it's the ground that determines whether the seed is going to take root or not. And in the same way, I never know ultimately what little gesture that I make is going to make a difference. I never know what word that I speak is going to influence somebody, and sometimes it might be somebody who's listening on the sidelines. That seed that I toss out here gets blown by the wind somewhere else and takes root. And the parable of the sower has taught me not to prejudge my audience, but rather to go out and to faithfully sow wherever I have opportunity. Let the seed land where it will, taken by the wind of the Spirit, if you will, and let God make the difference. That's the parable of the sower, and that's certainly what happened with that woman on that plane, who I didn't even know was listening very carefully. God used the small seed that I had tossed into the wind, and it bore fruit for eternal life.